KVUE News at 6 starts right now.
Get your tissues ready. Cedar fever is here. What you can do now that the pesky pollen reaches explosive levels.
I'll run on the flu shot. Doctors say the virus is hitting a normally healthy population, so we find out where you're guaranteed to get a shot.
A relative unknown last year, Texas Senator Ted Cruz is now center stage on Capitol Hill. We take a look at how he got there.
Good evening. I'm Tyler C. Swarta.
And I'm Terry Gruca. Thanks for watching Austin's News Leader. The Bastrop County Sheriff's Office says as many as 800 families may have had their mail stolen.
Yeah, and 4 people may be responsible for all of this. KVUE's Heather Kovar live along Highway 21 in Bastrop. Heather.
Tyler, Terry, investigators say the thieves struck at night searching for group mailboxes, kind of like this one off Highway 21 and 71, where homes are out of sight. However, investigators say somebody's game camera may have caught a still photo that could lead them to the possible culprits. This picture, captured from a game camera on Highway 71 in Cedar Creek, could help Bastrop County solve a rash of mailbox thefts. James Miller is the lead investigator on the case.
That picture led us to 4 individuals that have been named as suspects and also the location of that said vehicle.
He's working with the U.S. Postal Inspector's Office. Sheriff Terry Pickering says federal charges may be applied.
Because of the numbers of people involved and the potential dollar amount, we really feel like the U.S. Attorney's Office may pick up the prosecution on it.
Investigators say they believe the thieves stole mail from 500 to 800 homes, about 300 of those in Tahitian Village off 71.
Several of them were folks that found mail dumped outside their home.
Mary McDonald is the manager of the Tahitian Village Property Owners Association. She first heard of the thefts several weeks ago through an email.
From someone saying that her husband was out having his morning coffee on the porch and looked over and saw 2 young men going through people's mailboxes.
He shouted and they ran off towards a car. In the process of looking into these thefts, residents say they realized other crimes were happening, including 2 dog shots.
A couple of attempted break-ins, some vandalism. One resident told me she had a Dr. Pepper can thrown through her window.
Investigators say the mailbox thefts also happened along a 15-mile stretch of Highway 21 from Bastrop to Page. And they're looking into the possibility of these crimes expanding into surrounding counties while they seek warrants for the 4 suspects. Some people in Tahitian Village say the crimes have brought them together. They've been knocking on doors and introducing themselves to neighbors that they never knew before. There will also be a crime prevention workshop there January 11th. Live in Bastrop County, Heather Kovar, KVUE News.
All right, Heather, thank you for that. Now, in November, we saw a similar situation in South Austin. People living between Davis Lane and Slaughter found their mailboxes open and mail in the street. The postal inspector tells us 2 people are now charged in that case.
Well, we saw some big temperature changes over the past 24 hours. KVUE Chief Meteorologist Mark Murray joins us now with our first forecast. Welcome back. You brought some chilly temperatures with you, huh?
Yeah, tonight, Terry, could be the coldest night of the season so far. Here's what we're tracking in the KVUE Storm Center. A hard freeze is expected area-wide tonight, with lows across central Texas ranging from 20 to 30 degrees. And a weekend front that we're tracking may help to stir up more of the cedar pollen. Wonder what's making you sneeze? Here it is. This is the view from under our KVUE microscope today. All of those little pink dots, cedar pollen. And today it exploded to over 7,337 grains per cubic meter, one of the highest readings we have seen in a long time since we started taking our own pollen counts back in 1997. Quita Culpepper is here to let us know how people are dealing with this explosion. It happens every year about this time, but
we should be ready.
We should be.
But we're not.
We're not. Right, I know.
And it seems like almost everyone is feeling the effects of the cedar today, and they're all looking for something to make them feel better. Now, some of them made a beeline to People's Pharmacy, which carries a number of natural remedies supposed to bring relief. The homeopathic medicines include herbal drops, pills, and sprays. There are also essential oils that may help relieve cedar fever symptoms. And those who use these natural remedies say it's one way to keep from taking traditional over-the-counter medications that can make them sleepy and upset their stomachs.
These more natural products tend to give you relief from the sneezy, itchy kind of allergy symptoms while not having those side effects as well.
Drops mean you can take as much as you want, and it works, and it's just different. It's taking better care of yourself is what it is. Protection all the time.
Now, whatever you decide to take, whether it's homeopathic remedies, over-the-counter antihistamines, even allergy shots, doctors say just make sure it works well for you. Terry, Tyler?
All right, Quita, thank you. Now, Mark showed us that pollen slide. If you would like to track the latest pollen and mold counts on your phone, we've got you covered. iPhone and Android users can download our free Austin Allergy app. And remember, we always have the allergy forecast at KVUE.com.
Watch your speed on Mopac between Highway 183 and 2222. Starting today, the speed limit drops to 55 miles per hour in the construction zone. This is a live look at Mopac. I know it's a little blurry, but you can see still cars moving pretty smoothly there right now near North Hills from one of our TxDOT traffic cameras. Now, the road work is all part of the Mopac Improvement Project, which will add a new express toll lane. The project is expected to be complete next year. Some popular hike and bike trails in North Austin are closing this Saturday.
Yeah, that is so the city can continue constructing an 11-mile trail system near Walnut Creek. KVUE's Ashley Godot live near one of those trails in the Walnut Creek Metro Park. Ashley?
That's right, Tyler. I'm here by the main parking lot, and the entrance to the trail behind me and many more will be closed until September 1st as part of the Northern Walnut Creek Phase 1 trail construction. Now let's take a look at the map of the closures. Multiple mountain biking trails, mainly west of Walnut Creek, will be off limits. These trails crisscross through a portion of the park where a multi-use paved section will be constructed. It will look similar to the southern portion with a 10-foot wide paved trail with 2 feet shoulders that's more than 11 miles long. The northern section will connect the Walnut Creek Metro Park to the Balcones District Park. Cyclists who frequent the trail say they aren't looking forward to the closure, but can't wait for the finished product.
Yes, it's inconvenient in the short term, but in the long run, if I can ride 2 different trail systems without ever hitting traffic, like vehicular traffic, that's okay with me.
Phase 1 should be complete in the fall of this year, and the entire trail system will be done in 2016. It costs about $16 million, money from TxDOT, the federal government, Parks Department, and voter-approved bonds will pay for it. Now, the new trail system has been criticized by some people who want the area to remain unpaved, but city staffers point out that there will be numerous unpaved trails in addition to the new paved one. Now, to see a map of where those trails will be and exactly which ones are closing, just click on this story on KVUE.com. Reporting live in North Austin, Ashley Godot, KVUE News.
Thanks, Ashley. A freshman senator from Texas shook things up on Capitol Hill.
We'll take a look at the big first impression Ted Cruz made in 2013.
Plus, trying to track down a flu shot is no easy task. Where doctors say you can find one on your first stop. He beat the odds to become a U.S. Senator and became both beloved and shunned in his freshman year.
Ted Cruz rocked the Washington political establishment in 2013. All new at 6, KVUE political reporter Mark Wiggins live from our Capitol Bureau with a look to the future for Cruz. Mark?
Well, 2 years ago, most people were asking, who is Ted Cruz? Even this time last year, few could have guessed he'd put 2013 on cruise control.
Congratulations, Senators.
Ted Cruz had barely been sworn in when the freshman senator raised eyebrows with his confrontational questioning of former Republican Senator Chuck Hagel during his confirmation hearing for Defense Secretary.
You explicitly agreed with the characterization of the United States as the world's bully.
Next came a contentious exchange with California Senator Dianne Feinstein over gun laws.
I'm not a 6th grader. Senator, I've been on this committee for 20 years.
Cruz's rapid rise and trips to Iowa soon sparked questions about possible presidential ambitions.
John, I've been in the Senate all of 7 months. I rise today.
But it was a 21-hour speech against the Affordable Care Act that solidified Cruz as a Tea Party superstar.
Ted Cruz seized the Senate floor.
The talk that Ted Cruz has been giving for 18 hours now.
Days later, a plan promoted by Cruz to defund the health care law led to a 2-week government shutdown and criticism from colleagues on both sides.
I think we all hopefully have learned from that experience, and it will not be repeated.
Nobody should be surprised if you're trying to change Washington, that the Washington establishment pushes back.
By year's end, Cruz was Google's second most searched male politician in the world. Republican political consultant Matt Makoviak says Cruz's approach has quickly made him a Tea Party favorite for 2016.
He has a mix of characteristics that you don't see in politics very much.
At the same time, Democratic consultant Jason Stanford argues Cruz and the shutdown have hurt the GOP.
There were literally polls out there saying the Republicans were just a little bit more popular than sexually transmitted diseases.
Yet Cruz has rallied the conservative grassroots like few before him, and Makoviak says that and his ability to engage in debate could make him more than a primary spoiler.
If he ends up running for president, he's going to look at those polls, which may not be that encouraging for the general election, and say, I believe, like Reagan, I can move the polls with an argument and with debate, and that's going to be the big question.
Whatever he decides, he begins 2014 with the nation's attention. And 2013's top story for Democrats is Senator Wendy Davis. We're back this time tomorrow to wrap it all up. Live at the Capitol, Mark Wiggins, KVUE News.
Very good, Mark. Thank you for that. All right, let's talk about the flu. Are you still one of the many looking for a flu shot?
The one place you should be able to find one.
Could be one of the coldest nights of the season so far. I'll show you hour by hour, but first a time lapse from the Oasis cam. Lake Travis holding pretty steady. Beautiful sunset tonight out at the Oasis.
St. David's reports 8 flu deaths in its Travis County hospitals during December.
Yeah, numbers like that have many of you heading to neighborhood pharmacies for flu shots. KVUE's Jim Bergamo is here to explain why supply is not always keeping up with demand. What'd you find, Jim?
Well, Tyler, Terry, one of our coworkers called 7 pharmacies the other day before finding one that still had the flu shot in supply. Now, most of those she called are the more well-known drugstore chains. The good news, doctors tell us there is no shortage of vaccine, so try your doctor. The bad news, the age range this flu is affecting may send more people in search of that flu shot. Not far from the Scott and White Emergency Room in Round Rock, we asked people if they'd gotten a flu shot this year.
No, I haven't.
Yes.
No, I haven't had one this year.
Not what emergency room doctors are hoping to hear. They say while it's usually people over 65 and kids under 5 most at risk, this particular strain of H1N1 that's come early this year is hitting a different age range hard.
Some of the sickest people that we're seeing with the flu are relatively young and healthy people, 40 to 50-year-old people that for whatever reason just get really, really sick with this strain of flu.
Ross Tobelman is the director of emergency medicine at Scott and White in Round Rock. He says because more people could come down with this particular strain of flu, it's sending more people in search of a shot.
There's not a national shortage of flu vaccine. There is intermittent shortages in certain pharmacies just because based on demand. And in some of the places that are popular, I mean, you drive by Walgreens and, hey, well, I should get my flu shot. Well, everybody's driving by Walgreens and they say, well, I should get my flu shot. Going to Walgreens, going to CVS, going to H-E-B is a lot easier than making an appointment to go into your clinic to get the vaccine.
Tobelman says by making that appointment, patients can assure themselves of getting a flu shot. Advice some we talk to say they've already taken to heart or will so soon.
I was sick here recently, so it made me rethink things. So I was like, I should have taken one earlier this year.
I'm glad that I've gotten the shot. A lot of people have gotten sick and ended up in the hospital with the flu turning into pneumonia, so I don't regret it, and I would do it again.
Dr. Tobelman says the flu shot is only about 70% effective, and the virus can live on things such as shopping carts and door handles for days. So you should always still take precautions, including washing your hands and avoiding touching your face. Coldest we have been so far this year, 27 degrees. That happened last month. Tonight, 26, making this probably the coldest night of the season, at least so far. But take a look at this in the hill country. We could see lows approaching 20 degrees, maybe even some upper teens in some of those cold low spots where the cold, heavy air tends to settle. 25 overnight at Georgetown, 27 tonight at San Marcos. Even east of Interstate 35, a hard freeze is expected in Thorndale, Giddings, Lexington, LaGrange, Lockhart, Bastrop, all down to about 27 degrees. We'll stay below freezing until about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning when we pop to around 34 degrees in Austin. By noontime, we're in the 40s, and by afternoon tomorrow, we'll see a high temperature in the 50s. But again, pipes, plants, pets, and people, remember that tonight. Coldest night of the season so far. At least we don't have to worry about any sort of precipitation. Skies have been mostly clear today, not just for Austin, but for much of the state. So no risk of any freezing or frozen precipitation this time around. Tonight's forecast on average about 26 right in the center of Austin. But some of the low spots, even like out at the airport, could get down to 20 or 21 degrees. Some of the warmest spots, if you're right in the middle of downtown, it may stay closer to 30, but again, prepare for a freeze everywhere tonight. Cold morning tomorrow, 55 degrees tomorrow afternoon, a sunny day. It's 48 degrees now. One of the reasons we'll get so cold tonight, because the humidity is pretty low, and as those winds drop off, perfect conditions for radiational cooling. Allergy count, we showed you this earlier. We've been taking our own pollen readings here 7 days a week, 365 days a year since 1997. Today, 7,300 grains per cubic meter of air, of pollen per air. Incredibly high cedar count today. Now, it's not likely to maintain quite that high level tomorrow. It may drop back a little bit, but it's likely to be in the high category again tomorrow. So keep up to date, as Tyler mentioned, with the Austin Allergy app right there in the Austin American-Statesman. Kind of watch out for dry, windy days. That's when that pollen really likes to spread, especially after a cloudy, cool, damp, rainy stretch. We'll have to be on our toes at least through Valentine's Day. Now, if you want to get away from the mountain cedar, where do you go? Well, there are some spots you can get away from it. The cedar trees, ash juniper to be technically correct, grow from Austin and San Antonio back into the hill country and all the way up into places like northern Arkansas. Across the nation, western part of the country, good shape. Eastern part of the country, not so much. Right now in Boston, it is 8 degrees above zero. The winds have just started kicking up. The wind chills are now down to 15 below zero. They already have several inches of snow on the ground in Boston. They could start the day Friday with a foot of snow. Places like New York City could see up to a foot of snow. That's our extreme weather for tonight. Extremely cold tonight in Texas, but a beautiful day tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be in the 40s by noontime, into the 50s tomorrow afternoon. Here's our 7-day forecast. Next chance of rain is still several days away. We're thinking probably next Thursday and Friday. For today, or tonight though, 26 degrees with a hard freeze area wide. 55 tomorrow. Most of us stay above freezing tomorrow night. 66 Saturday. Watch that front on Sunday. That's likely to stir up more cedar pollen Sunday and Monday of next week. So anytime you see those winds pick up, that's kind of a dangerous sign or danger sign for those of us with cedar fever.
Was it dangerous for you guys because you're just back in town, right?
Well, I started allergy shots a few years ago, so it doesn't affect me like it used to. But
it's the only thing in the air I'm not allergic to, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. That's good.
All right, thanks, Matt. Matt is in for Mike today. You're talking about one of your favorite subjects, A&M.
Absolutely. Big announcement today. Just ahead, a Texas A&M star declares for the NFL draft, but it's not who you think. And the Baylor Bears had high hopes for finishing the season with a top 5 ranking. Fallout from last night's Fiesta Bowl, straight ahead.
He's going to score! Touchdown!
This is KVUE Sports.
Okay, follow my numbers here. The Big 12 had 6 of its 10 teams earn bowl bids. And so far, the results have been so-so. Kansas State and Texas Tech both notched impressive victories. Texas, not so much. We know how that turned out against Oregon, but most would tell you that league champion Baylor got a favorable draw against Central Florida in the Fiesta Bowl. The Knights, though, spoiled our brows in the Bears' BCS debut, notching a 10-point win. The Bears hurt themselves with 17 penalties on the night, bringing a tremendous season to a disappointing close.
I don't know very many ball clubs that can win with 17 penalties in one game. And with a good team like that, you know what I mean, what happened tonight is going to happen to you if you have 17 penalties against a team like that.
Extremely proud of our football team and our university. I'm just disappointed at all the people that, took a lot of time and effort and energy to come out here and support us, because we had a great crowd tonight, and it's disappointing for us, for them.
So that leaves Oklahoma and Oklahoma State to carry the Big 12 banner the rest of the way. The Cowboys get Missouri in the Cotton Bowl on Friday night. The Sooners, meanwhile, hitting the field in the Sugar Bowl against mighty Alabama later this evening. Meanwhile, Texas A&M receiver Mike Evans is declaring for the NFL draft. Like his teammate Johnny Manziel, Evans is a redshirt sophomore, and after 2 standout seasons in College Station, is eligible and is thought to be a first-round draft pick. Evans totaled nearly 1,400 yards this season to go with a dozen touchdowns. As for the guy who's chunking him the rock, Manziel's expected to announce his NFL intentions in the very near future. The whiteout cupboard is hardly bare at A&M, though. The Aggies picked up a commitment today from this gentleman, the top athlete in the country, Speedy Noyle out of Louisiana, shown here catching a touchdown pass. Considered something of a coup for Kevin Sumlin and company, Noyle committed to the Aggies over in-state favorite LSU. Westlake High School has produced more than its fair share of recruits over the years, especially at the quarterback position. None better than Drew Brees and Nick Foles will face off against one another this weekend in the NFL playoffs. That story coming your way on the Night Beat. And as football season winds down, basketball season cranks up. The Texas men open their Big 12 slate on Saturday against arch rival Oklahoma at the Superdome. That should be a dandy. The Texas ladies, meanwhile, lift the lid tonight on the road at Oklahoma State. Guys, back to you.
Going to be good weather to watch some basketball indoors.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Drip the pipes tonight. It will get cold, probably one of the coldest nights of the winter so far, 26 degrees. You know, bring the plants in if they're not dead already. And don't forget about the people and the pets, too. The frozen water dishes are a big problem, so bring the pets in tonight. 55 degrees tomorrow, 66 on Saturday.
He said that looking right at us.
Yeah, yeah, and it's true.
I know.
My plants have nothing to do with the cold, that's for sure. Thanks for being with us.
We'll see you at 10.